Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Drone Nerds Tech Talk on the Parrot ANAFI USA. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McMillan, Marketing Director for Drone Nerds. I have Sam Sakalis here, our Enterprise Lead, and we're lucky to have FX Charbonnel, Regional Sales Manager from Parrot Americas with us to do an unboxing, go over some specs, and also to talk about the whole partnership ecosystem surrounding the ANAFI USA. This Tech Talk is being recorded and we'll send out a link to everyone who registered after the webinar. Now I'm going to hand it over to Sam.
Thanks, Michelle. Hey, everybody. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone found the link well. FX, thank you for your time. Thank you for going over the ANAFI USA with us again. And I can't wait to unbox this thing and kind of go over its use cases and really see what we're able to do with it.
Sam, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. So yes, as you said, the purpose of the session today is actually to talk about ANAFI USA, the specs, the product itself and how it comes like in the box, and so show to people what's included in it, and talk also about the ecosystem around the product, which is key. So let's start. I will share my screen and share a presentation that we have here.
Sure. And I just want to remind everybody too that if you have any questions during the presentation, go ahead and submit them. We're going to have a Q&A session running at the end, but we're going to be fielding all the questions in the box in the meantime. So go ahead and put any questions you have there. If we answer them during the presentation, we'll mark them as answered. If we don't, we'll give you our emails and we'll reach out to you directly.
Let's start. So ANAFI USA, quickly about me and Parrot Drone. So my name is FX. I've joined Parrot in 2010 when the company launched the very first consumer UAV ever launched, which was the Air drone back then. I've started my career in Parrot Paris headquarters as a marketing product manager. In 2012, I've joined Parrot International Sales Team, taking care of respectively Latin America and Middle East and Africa. And in 2018, I joined Parrot Incorporation in the United States to develop and grow the Parrot business in the enterprise market. Parrot is a 25 years company. Parrot is actually a group. We have different companies within the group: Parrot Drones for quadcopters, SenseFly for fixed wing, Pix4D for photogrammetry software, and MicroSense for payloads in agriculture. And Parrot Inc. is actually a 16 years as a US company, so we're definitely not new to the scene with more than 4.5 million micro drones produced and sold. We are a proven, experienced drone company working already with defense, public safety, enterprise and governments globally, and working with the DIU and DoD, which is a good blend of innovation, commercial, and operational capability. ANAFI as a platform is something very important because we're talking today about ANAFI USA, but ANAFI is a platform. We also have ANAFI 4K, we also have ANAFI Thermal. ANAFI as a platform is already being used by thousands of pilots every day all over the world, where we have more than 100,000 ANAFI flying. ANAFI is a proven platform. It's not a prototype. It's not a drone made for marketing content. It's real. It's used already by the UK Royal Navy, but by the French Army, by the Army Swiss, and several police and fire departments, enterprise and government all around the world. We'll start this presentation with a quick video to show you ANAFI USA, and then we'll dig in the specs and the ecosystem. So this is giving you an understanding of what the product can do. We'll dig into the features one by one. And this is also giving you an idea of who we target with the drone. The drone is very versatile in what you can do with it. But public safety, first responders is definitely people that will enjoy the most the drone and the way it's been designed. The first thing we need to state on this drone is that it's made in USA. This is not a light thing these days. We are manufacturing in Boston, Massachusetts. We've partnered with a company called Neotech, which is specialized in manufacturing product for the aerospace, the defense, and the medical. ANAFI USA is GDPR compliant. What does this mean? GDPR is actually stating for General Data Protection Regulation. It's a European regulation that requires businesses to protect the personal data and the privacy of citizens. We needed a very high level of security on this drone, and this is we've gone through this GDPR regulation. It's a very stringent regulation, and basically no data is being sent to Parrot by default from the drone. The data can be shared with us only if the user consents to do it, and via an opt-in option within the app. In line with the security features that we have implemented on this drone, the SD card is encrypted. So what does that mean? It means that all the data, meaning the photos and the videos that are stored on the drone, will remain on the drone. And if this SD card is lost or stolen, no one will have access to it because it's locked, and it's locked through the encryption. So the encryption is done via Free Flight 6 again. So the SD card is in the drone, and you have the choice to lock it and encrypt it at the time of setting up your device. About the firmware and the way the drone is protected, Parrot is a drone manufacturer from A to Z. What does that mean is we actually control and develop and design everything from hardware to software to firmware. So the drone firmware is actually done fully in-house. We control everything. It's digitally secured. So the firmware is actually digitally signed. So no one could actually load another firmware on the drone to operate it. And the link between the controller, the ground control, and the drone is actually also authenticated and encrypted. About the payload capabilities, so super important what we're having here. Basically what we've done is very much an industry first. What we have done is that we've put 3 sensors on the same payload. So you have a wide angle 4K camera, you have a telephoto 4K camera. These, both of them work together in order to achieve a 32-time digital stabilized zoom. And the third sensor that you can see here clearly is a FLIR sensor, boson 320, so resolution of 320 × 256. This is all the sensors actually working together, and so you capable of zooming up to 32 times, plus whether in RGB or thermal, because we have these sensors working together. It's an industry first because it's very unusual to have so much sensors on the same payload in a lightweight drone like this. However, you know, we hear a lot about like people saying, okay, this drone can zoom X time or etc. Zoom time X means nothing if it's not giving precision. And this is very much what it is about. It's the fact that ANAFI USA can actually detect a person from 1.2 miles away. And this is like this is how we actually picture it for people to understand what we can achieve with this drone. And again, both in thermal or in RGB. We'll have a look at the zoom live a bit later in the session today. All the sensors are actually mounted on a gimbal. The video is fully stabilized. It's an hybrid stabilization, so we do mechanical and electronical stabilization. and the gimbal is actually able to tilt -140 to +110 degrees. And this is a feature that people like, especially in inspection. So we're talking about public safety at the beginning, but this is also a drone that is going to be used or is already used by utility companies, for example, looking at like electric poles, electric lines, telecommunication towers. And so with the fact that you're having the capability of zooming plus having the tilt of the gimbal, this is very key for this type of users. The drone is IP53. So IP53 means it's actually a categorization. It's an official classification. IP53 means that it's dust and water resistant. IP5 means it's dust protected. So just so you guys know, we've tested this extensively. We've put this drone 13 hours in a closed box, throwing sand on it. The drone came out of the box. We actually were able to take off with it right after, no problem, dust protected. IPX3 means water protected, and so water resistant. And the exact definition is the drone will actually be able to support water falling as a spray at any angle up to 60 degrees from vertical. So it means that this drone could be flown under rain, for example. The drone is actually 500 grams, 1 pound, and this is super, super important. Why? Because we know that people want to pack light. They want something that is, and we very much believe in this at Parrot. It's kind of in our DNA. We are doing micro drones. We want to put the most technology on the drone in order for people to use it easily, carry it easily. So you can fly 32 minutes with one battery, and the battery is on the drone, and this would be 1 pound. Now, if you add 3 other batteries, giving you 2 hours flight time, you would only have a package at about 2.4 pounds, and you're having the drone plus the 4 batteries, and you can fly 2 hours. So this is very important to understand, like the link between the weight and the flight time capabilities. And Sam, you're used to this, and many people listening to us are used to this in drones because it's flying tools. The battery capability is very much linked to the weight of the device, and there is no exception with ANAFI USA. It's a very light device, and this has been a big point of focus for us. You don't need any GPS synchronization to take off the drone. So it means that you will be able to fly indoor perfectly. You have 2 sensors at the bottom of the drone, a vertical camera, an ultrasound sensor. These are enough to fly perfectly indoor. On top, we don't have any restriction, no limitation. So there is no geofence limitation. So no fly zones, as they're called. We rely fully on the responsibility of the pilot under Part 107. People know what they're doing. People are professional pilots, and so we don't want to block them when flying the drone. Something very important also to know, the drone is operational in less than 55 seconds, which means that you unfold the drone, you power on, and in less than a minute, you're up in the air, up and running. You can end takeoff and end land the drone, which is something that people like in practical ground. And it only takes 25 seconds to swap batteries during your mission. And this is also important. All this downtime can be crucial in some missions that our users are having sometimes. The drone is super quiet. It's 79 dB at 50 centimeters off the ground. And again, super light, 1 pound. So I will show you now the drone and how it comes in the pack. So I'll just stop the presentation for a minute and go back to the video here. So the drone actually comes in a hard case, fully ready like this. Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm not sure this is picking up. Okay, yeah, here we go. So that's the hard case of the ANAFI USA. Within the case, you're going to find drone itself. I'm just opening the case for you here. So you're going to find the drone here. Just picking up the drone and showing it to you here. So that's the device. Okay. Here we go. Okay, and that's the size. That's the size of the drone. So as you can see, the drone is very small with the gimbal here. Then in the pack, you're actually having the remote control, which is the Sky Controller 3. You having 3 batteries, so 1 on the drone and 2 extra. You having a multi-port USB charger to charge everything in one go. A side comment on the charging system: the cables are actually cables USB-C, which means that you can charge the batteries on the go from a power bank, for example. And this is convenient for people that are on the ground. You know, you charge everything in one go when you're home, but when you're on the ground and you want to charge your gear ongoing, you can charge them with a power bank. And we also have put it in the pack, a tablet holder for the controller, in order to put a tablet if you want and you don't want to use your phone to control the drone. You prefer to have a tablet. So that's about the pack content. I'll go back to the presentation here. Okay.
So FX, just real quick, you know, looking at the actual in the box picture that you have there, you know, some of the
Yes.
questions we're getting are how are you attaching multiple batteries to the charging port? Can you touch on that?
Yeah. Well, basically on this. So the question is about this charging port, right?
Yes.
So in the pack, you actually having 4 USB cables that will allow you to charge the 3 batteries included plus the controller. You still have 1 dock free here, and you could use this one. I personally use this one to charge my phone in order to have all the gears. So, and the particularity of this charger is that everything is charging at the same time. So it's not one, then the other, and so on. It's everything at the same time.
Right. Okay. And is there also a car charger going to be available for this unit?
We don't provide ourselves a car charger. Having said that, because it's actually we're using the standard USB-C, you're able to use any car charger to charge the batteries, like you would charge your smartphone, for example.
Perfect.
So that's about the gear and the features of the product. We'll talk now about the softwares that we use with the product and Free-Flight 6. It's a big day for Free-Flight 6 because we've just, right before this webinar, released our new version, Free-Flight 6.7. So Free-Flight 6.7 is the new major update for ANAFI range. So ANAFI 4K, ANAFI Thermal, and ANAFI USA, and it's the release that makes the product work, the app work with ANAFI USA. Free-Flight 6 is 4.7 stars worldwide, which makes it one of the best drone app in the world. This is the rating on App Store. Free-Flight 6 has already 2 years of software improvements on the ANAFI platform, on the 4K and the thermal. We've been through 7 major updates. So, you know, drone software is super complex. It takes months and months to actually develop, but even more time to have a stabilized and mature software. And we are the only one with this maturity today with this type of device. So Free-Flight 6.7 is the new app to be used with ANAFI USA.
And as you mentioned there before too, you know, it's constantly being improved on, it's constantly being updated. I mean, they're constantly working on this application itself and even taking user feedback.
Exactly, we're taking user feedback. Through Free-Flight 6.7, so the new one, not only it supports ANAFI USA, but also we have implemented a lot of new features in this app. You know, we've listened to users. For example, if I take the return to home option, we've put in several different options for the return to home, and this is This is within Free Flight 6.7. So yes, you're correct. It's super important to always make these softwares evolve. It's exactly like a phone. On one side, you have the hardware, but on the other side, you have your iOS. iOS is being updated every year, like with a major release. And this is what we do. This is very much the idea. So super important. Drones today, well, and since a while now, are not only a tool, but it's actually a tool in the toolbox, which means that the drone will be used for several different missions, several different jobs. And the only way, according to us, to actually give the best answer to these users is actually to always have an open system where people can actually implement their solutions with it. How do we do this? We do this through a software development kit, an SDK that is actually open for ANAFI USA, ANAFI platform. And so we are building an overall complete ecosystem around the product. So today already, ANAFI USA is compatible with the largest solution for photogrammetry in the world, which is the Pix4D solutions. And so we don't, here it's super important because we're not speaking about like proof of concept or research and development ongoing. It's real, it's compatible, and it's today. It's existing today. So ANAFI USA already compatible with Pix4D. Pix4D, there is two sides of it. So there is the Pix4D capture app, which is the app that you're going to use to plan your mission. So instead of using Free Flight 6, you would be using Pix4D capture. Once the mission is realized and once you have all your imagery and your data, you would use this data to be processed, and you can process it for 2D mapping offline with Pix4D React, which is a tool that is very much used in public safety. People like to be able to generate maps in no time from their car, accident scene reconstruction, all these type of jobs that needs, real-time efficiency. And so Pix4D React is very, very powerful for that. And it's also compatible with Pix4D Mapper, which will provide you the 2D, but also the 3D modeling. And this is already up and running. In line with these partnerships, so we talking here about Pix4D, but we're developing the ecosystem, and so we are also compatible with several other solutions. If I name some that people may know, Skyward, we're compatible with it. Survey, we're compatible with it. Drone Logbook, in order to track all your logs and your flights, we're compatible with it. And one super important is DroneSense. So we are compatible with DroneSense. DroneSense is the most complete and secure drone management platform for public safety, government, and critical infrastructure, basically. There is three sides of it. There is the pilot side of it, where we have an app, which is the DroneSense app, providing very intuitive flying experience in the field, and all the options that you have with the drone in Free Flight 6 are native application. You will find them available in the DroneSense app. So you would be flying ANAFI USA with DroneSense exactly like if you were flying it with Free Flight 6 in terms of options and features. You have the operation side of things. So you're actually able to log on your DroneSense platform online, and you will be able to see the missions going, the pilots assigned, assign several pilots, etc. See all your drones on the map, all the drones that are flying at the same time, and have, and this is super important, the live feed of the drone from wherever you are, just logging in your platform. I'll show you a live example right now. I have an ANAFI USA connected, and I will show you how it works. And for admins, so it's actually providing a comprehensive system of record for your entire drone fleet, entire drone system. You'll be able to track your gears, your batteries, how many charge cycles and so on. So this is a very, very complete solution. So talking about drone sense, and because it's so important, I'd like to show you something here. Let me put it on. Okay. Okay. So here you see my you actually see my drone sense platform, and so you're able to see my drone is connected. We have several drones here, so we can actually these are all the drones that are on the mission general flights, and this is mine just connected right now. You can locate this drone on the map. So this drone is currently in Miami, in Florida. But if you were having several of other drones connected at the same time, you could actually see them all across directly. Then you're going to have the altitude, MSL, AGL. My drone is not flying right now. It's just positioned outside and landed. This is just for the example. However, you see that the drone is actually facing south, and this is the exact position of the drone. And here, if I enlarge my screen, you're actually seeing that the drone is flying right now. And so this is what you get. It's the live stream you get directly from the app. So I'm just going to do something here. Okay, let me see. Okay, so basically, yeah. So I just had to restart it. The drone is getting a bit hot outside right now, but this is how it looks. It looks like you're having everything live. You can switch, as I said, you can switch between one camera to the other. You can also use the blending. You can use the different color palettes. This is all the things you can use directly with Drone Sense, and everything is included and up and running already. So that's it about the presentation. That's it about the ecosystem and the specs. I don't know if Sam, you have any questions, or if people are having any question here.
Yeah, so let's go into the Q&A section of this because there's quite a few questions that are coming in, and some of them are repetitive and some have been answered. But so let's look at the battery life. For the remote controller, more or less, what's the running time? What battery life can we expect on it?
So the battery life of the remote control itself, it depends on if you actually using an Android or an iOS device. Why is that? It's because the Android device will be actually charged from the battery of the device. Okay. If you're using an Apple device, it won't. So with an Android, it's 2.5 hours. With an iOS, it's 5 hours and a half. Okay.
Yeah, and that's something that can also be turned off with Android as well, if any Android users are going to be running this. So that's something that can be disabled, so you can get more maximum flight time out of it. A big question we received too, and a couple more people followed up on, was let's say the customer service and the support that's going to come with the ANAFI USA. Seeing as this is going to be a pretty big enterprise edition model for Parrot, what kind of support can people expect with it?
That's a very good question. We know support is essential, and we are now very much an enterprise, professional, focused company. So we have totally changed the way we do the support, because we need the support to be local, reactive, and effective. So we have implemented a new program for support where we have empowered our partners to do the support, and they are in direct communication with Parrot. What does that mean? Drone Nerds is actually able to do what we call the level 1 and the level 2 of support, meaning Drone Nerds is able to troubleshoot the issues that you're having, because they are equipped with tools to actually assess the case in the support case. Second, Drone Nerds is empowered to actually exchange the units on our behalf, because they're able to troubleshoot. If Drone Nerds is in a situation where they don't know exactly, or they need a bit of more troubleshooting with the support of Parrot. This is the L3 escalation, and DroneNerd is having a dedicated support people assigned to them in order to escalate this. So this is something that we have. It's a new program that we've put in place. We've started with ANAFI Thermal and ANAFI Work, and ANAFI USA will actually fall under this same program.
One of the questions we're getting a lot of is the thermal resolution. The ANAFI thermal, the standard edition of it, it's 160 by 140. Can you tell us what the thermal range would be on this one?
Yes, so the ANAFI USA is actually a FLIR. So on ANAFI thermal, we have a FLIR Lepton 3.5, 160, 120. And with the ANAFI USA, we have a FLIR Boson 320, 256. Now, very important point is to always remember that we don't only use the thermal sensor, we actually use the RGB and the thermal together. Why is that? It's because if you're only using the thermal sensor, at some point, you won't get any context. You'll get the temperatures, you'll get the heat signature, but you won't get any context around it. What we want is to be able to look at an individual and actually be able to read what's written on his shirt, for example. And so because we mix together the thermal and the RGB, we're able to do this. So the main difference now is that because this thermal sensor is much more powerful at night, it's doing much better than the 160, 120. And we actually able to detect a person from 200, 300 feet at night with the 320 256. So larger sensor, bigger sensor, better capability to actually identify people.
Yeah, and just to be clear too, I'm getting this question is, it's a 4.3 millimeter lens that's going to be built into this Boson camera to be able to give you a much wider field of view. And at the same time, this is not an interchangeable camera. You're not able to put the 640 resolution. You can't add multispectral to it. This is a built-in package that's coming with this drone.
Yes, exactly, yes.
And are there any plans in the future? I mean, there's always plans going on for enterprise units especially, but, people are asking if 640 is being considered for this unit. And then obviously as the Boson radiometric cores become available and start coming onto the market, I believe next year, will we start seeing radiometric versions of this?
Well, I can talk for the future. We very much base our future development on what's needed and to enter the market. ANAFI Thermal was a very good start and is still a very good unit for several missions. Now we had these comments on the fact that sometimes people were needing a better resolution of thermal, zoom more powerful, and so on. This is what we have done with ANAFI USA. The next step potentially, yes, we can imagine having a 640. I don't know, and I'm not able to confirm this today, but potentially this is something that in the future we will have. But also, sensors, and especially thermal sensors resolution, is very much linked to the price, and we know that a lot of people are having enough capabilities with a 320, the way it's embedded here with the two sensors, and potentially, yes, they would need for some dedicated mission a 640, but not necessarily. And the 10K threshold is super important. ANAFI US, as a reminder, is $7,000. And so we think that this is a very good answer to the needs of several users today. For now, it's very much a balance between the capabilities, the price, the versatility, the ecosystem. This is very much what we want to bring.
And kind of just going over the compatible different softwares that Parrot's integrated into the system. I don't know if you want to go back to that slide real quickly so people can see it for
Yes.
some of the ones that joined on a little bit later.
Yes.
But I'd also like if you could talk a little bit more in depth on the ecosystem itself. A big one I'd really like to cover a little bit more is DroneSense. I'm getting a lot of different people asking about live streaming and live views with the drone.
Yes.
If we could go into that a little bit.
So the ecosystem, again, what we're doing is on one side, we have an SDK, software development kit, that is available, so people can actually join us on Parrot partners and see and download all the documentation to make their software working with the product. We are also here to help, of course, so we have someone dedicated to this and currently spending a lot of efforts to make this work together. And so this is the base, like the SDK, and the fact that it's open. We don't want, and the philosophy behind this is that we're not here to reinvent the wheel, you know. There is people that are experts in software for dedicated verticals, dedicated jobs, and we rely on them and we let them do their job. So we're here to manufacture a drone that is working very well, that is mature enough, that is made in USA, that is secured. Then once this is done, it's a platform available for people to develop and people to continue proposing several solutions. In line with this, we are already compliant or working. The drone is already compatible with several solutions. And so you were talking about DroneSense. DroneSense to me is a very important one. Why? Because it's providing a super powerful way of tracking all your flights, tracking all your pilots, assigning missions, and seeing them live on the map with the drones, all the information about the drone itself, the telemetry and so on, and the cameras running and having, it's an operation center. It's an operation center. And so this is super powerful. There is no latency, you know, in the feed. It's super quick. So this is, DroneSense is super good. And for public safety, it's already implemented in several agencies I know. And for them, it's super important too, because, you know, these people are actually putting a lot of money, investment of time, money in the drone programs today. And in the drones program, they have the software, they have the hardware, etc. But if you buy a software with several licenses that you can't use with different devices, then what? Then you're buying another software for another device, and compatibility is key, and synergies between systems. And so this is why we actually very much focused on having ANAFI USA to work with DroneSense, because people that are having a fleet of other drones, which is normal, then they buy an ANAFI platform, 4K thermal USA, and they can plug it in, and it's live and running in the system, you know, with the others. So that's why we're very much trying to do. So that's about DroneSense. And then about the others, we have recently announced a partnership with Skyward, which is very, very recognized in inspection, construction. So a lot of utilities companies across the country are using it. Skyward is actually a Verizon company, so it's super solid platform and software. We're also working with Survey, which allows you to see all your imagery on one platform online, and so share it across your teams very easily. Drone logbook to have all your flight listed, and this is very much about like the telemetry and all the details about your flight. So these are few examples, but this is ongoing. And I'm taking example here only about software, but we also partnering with very renowned people in the industry for hardware. So I can't talk too much about this, but some exciting news are coming on the hardware side of things for products that will be compatible with the ANAFI platforms.
Perfect. Yeah. Can you talk about the range on the drone as well? What kind of distance can we expect with the drone with what's built into it?
Yes, so the drone is connected to the Sky Controller, and the range between the ground control station and the drone is 2.5 miles.
Okay. And is there a recommended ADS-B or anything like that Parrot would recommend for the ANAFI USA, an ADS-B receiver?
No, actually not especially. What we do is, so as a reminder, the controller doesn't have HDMI, so you would actually stream through platforms like DroneSense, etc. And then in terms of devices that you would use, we're compatible with both iOS and Android. It works as well as on smartphone or on tablets, so it's pretty wide open.
Now, this drone itself, does it offer any kind of tracking, or can it be used through a third-party system to offer any form of tracking?
Tracking, like tracking a target, you mean?
Yes.
So ANAFI is actually having several piloting mode implemented. And so you have one mode where it's what we call the cameraman mode. The cameraman mode is you're flying, you're actually putting the camera on a target, you select the target through your screen, and you're still piloting, so you're still you're still in charge of all the piloting, but the target will always remain centered on what you're looking at. You can also, there is a lot of like point of interest options that you can put within the piloting app, and we have a follow me mode, so which would be actually tracking also, and this works with two systems: the GPS of the drone and the visual recognition with the camera system.
Okay. Also, for the systems themselves running on Pix4D, I know you can use, I think you said Pix4D Creator with the system. Can you run any other Pix4D system on here, like Pix4D Fields, anything like that, for maybe even agricultural use?
So currently the product is compatible with Pix4D React and Pix4D Mapper. And this is because we're mainly using the RGB. Pix4D Fields is very much dedicated to agriculture, as you know. And so with Pix4D Field, we recommend dedicated payloads for agriculture. So such as the Parrot Sequoia, an all-in-one drone that is bluegrass field that existed and that is still available with Drone Nerd, or a microsense sensor. And so because to do, you can always use an RGB and a thermal sensor like this on agriculture, but the level of information that you may get might not be enough for what you're looking at. And so you might prefer to actually have a multispectral sensor with a thermal also, because thermal is very good for all the water issues that you may have on your field. And so a prime example of a payload like this is the Altum from Microsense, which is actually combining both, as you know. So currently, to go back to the question, currently ANAFI USA is compatible with Pix4D React and Pix4D Mapper.
Okay. What frequency is the drone running on?
So the drone is actually using the 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz frequencies, Wi-Fi frequencies, WPA2.
Okay. And, we talked about future models. Obviously, there's always going to be development going on, and Parrot's going to continue to move into the market and grow the industry as much as they see fit, based on the demands as well that are there. But, looking at the fact that the drone has no ADS-B, doesn't have any geofencing, are there any anticipated issues with getting this unit for, let's say compliance reasons, whether that be through the FAA or anything like that? Has Parrot seen anything like that? Have we heard anything like that?
No. So, well, the FAA is actually working on remote ID. And we work closely with the FAA on this topic. Besides working with the FAA, we actually work very, very closely with the US Army. Because I don't remember if we mentioned this, but this drone has been designed for the US Army, and we made it then available for enterprise and public safety, but initially it's been designed with the US Army. So if there is no issues on the way the drone is done, and with the limitation of the drones are always required to be registered under Part 107. If you take mine, I have the I don't know if you see, but always the number registered with the FAA, super important. Now, in the future, if new legislation is actually coming up, we will follow the rules with no doubt. We're working closely. Remote ID is a big topic. Now it's not yet completely defined. on what we want to have and the system it needs to work on. So we're following up very closely on this topic.
Okay. Yeah, and looking into the actual capabilities of the drone itself, what temperature range can this drone work within?
So in terms of temperature range, just give me a second. I can actually confirm this to you.
Mhm.
The drone is actually I do have this in Fahrenheit. So the operating temperature of the drone is from minus 32 Fahrenheit to 110 Fahrenheit. That's about the drone operating temperature.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so you have a very nice wide range there to work within.
Yes.
Okay. Now moving over more into the thermal camera itself, are you able to actually do any spot metering, any spot meter temperature readings with this camera?
So no, because the camera is not radiometric. So that's the main difference also with the ANAFI thermal and the ANAFI USA. Having said that, it's funny because with the ANAFI thermal, people were happy to have the radiometric sensor, but somehow not happy with the fact that they need to fly high and detect. And because of the size of the sensor, the detection wasn't as good as the one you could have on a 320. And so now your detection will be better, but you don't necessarily have the radiometric. But in order to have the most precise temperature range, you would need to also fly closer. So you have another option for that. So no, with this one, the FLIR boson not being radiometric, we don't have the precise measurements of the temperatures.
Okay. And as far as I'm not sure if we covered this or not, but the wind itself, what can this drone withstand when it comes down to wind conditions?
Yeah, so the drone can withstand a wind speed up to 33 miles per hour, which is also the horizontal speed of the drone, because it's usually the same. So 33 miles per hour.
Okay. Going over the camera system just one more time.
Yes.
We're looking at two RGB cameras. We're looking at a thermal camera. Can you go over the resolution and size of the sensors on all three cameras?
Yes. So we have two 4K sensor. It's a bit complicated for me to give you the size of it. It's 1/2.4 in terms of size. They're both 4K. One is wide angle, the other one is telephoto. And this is how actually we do the zoom. Meaning it's exactly like what you have on an iPhone.
Yeah.
On an iPhone, you have different sensors here, and you're going to start very wide and then going through the regular sensor and then going to the zoom. It's the same principle. It's a digital zoom going through different sensors in order to achieve a 32 time stabilized zoom. So that's for the 4K. And the FLIR, yeah, we discussed it already. It's 320.
Okay. So now, are there any limitations on the ANAFI USA? When I say that, I mean, is this a drone designed specifically to stay within the United States? Is it something that can be used outside of the US? Or are all the benefits really just being here in the US with it?
So the drone can be used anywhere. We actually manufacturing and selling it in the US, but we're also selling it in other countries. So we're selling it in Europe, we're selling it in Asia. It's a worldwide drone. So no limitation. Now back to support topics. We always encourage highly people to buy the drone in the country they live in, in order to make sure that they have the support associated with it.
Yeah, and that's just to expedite the process for the user more than anything else.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see here. Just another question that we're going to have. So, is there any actual case studies or any footage or videos or pictures that are being used right now by let's say departments or any case studies that Parrot's running to be able to show capabilities of the ANAFI USA being used, in the hands of departments, in the hands of the government, anything like that?
Yeah, so this will, there is two sides of it. First, the drone has been already flown and
Mhm.
tested extensively through the process of development, because we've developed this with the DoD. So the drone has been already tested and flown a lot through a lot of different cases and use cases.
Right.
Now, we can't share too much on this. It's kind of confidential use cases. We are looking at doing more and more use cases end of this year, beginning of next year, in public safety, in inspection, construction, in mapping. We'll do a bit of mapping too. Having said that, I already have some brief use cases that we have put it together for people to see what they could do. Because if you think about it, the drone has been mainly designed for first responders, public safety, and inspection, but it can be used in a lot of different missions. So we have already tested the drone quite a lot. We've been testing it last week, for example, with this NIST testing course where you have like the cones, and so you're able to zoom and so on, like these training courses. So we testing it and just flying it and we're doing several use cases every week. We didn't yet put them together as a tools to be published publicly.
Right. And that's understandable. I mean, there's always going to be restrictions and things like that when it comes down to this. One of the main questions we keep saying over and over again, yes, this drone is approved on the DoD list. It is approved for federal, state, local department use. There's no restrictions on this unit whatsoever. Another question we're getting, and it's more just about, I'd say, the ANAFI line itself and Parrot, where it plans on going with enterprise. Is Parrot planning on adding anything like, being able to integrate antennas into vehicles to be able to get better signal, better range, or even have the drone, have a vehicle following the drone, so it's able to go from site to site?
There is a lot of things going on, a lot of things in the cooking. It's to me, it's never good to talk too early about future capabilities until we have them. Otherwise, and this is not only with drones, it's like overall, yes, in 10 years, when you think about it, 10 years before, we didn't have a smartphone. Look where we are. So we don't very much know, and it's also a lot linked to processor speed, calculation, power of processors, the MEMS, a lot of things. Now we're looking at expanding the capabilities of the drone for sure. And taking an example, you were talking about takeoff or land from a moving vehicle, for example.
Yes.
Parrot has invested in a US company called Planck Aerosystem, based in San Diego, California, and they are experts in takeoff and landing from a moving vehicle. So yes, one day ANAFI USA will be able to do this. We're working on it. It's just, and because it's not available today, it's better for people to know what we can do. And if the question is, are you guys working on several other things? Yes, we are working on a lot of things.
Right.
We're working on a lot of things, but until it's not available, it's not here. So there is no point of talking about it. We talk about it when it's here.
Right. Another question I have for you comes back to the remote controller itself. Are you able to turn, with the ANAFIs, usually you have to open up the remote controller and that's what powers it on and off. Is it the same with the ANAFI USA, or is it now down to a power button?
It's the same thing. You actually power on when you open the controller.
Okay.
Yes.
And then as soon as remote ID becomes, gets put into play and becomes effective, is that an update that will be sent out to all the users?
I don't know yet. It very much depends on how the system works. Again, we're working closely with the FAA and not only the FAA but also in Europe, because it's a topic for European people too. No answer to this today. It's too early.
Right. Okay. All right. I mean, that's the majority of the questions that we have here. I mean, I think we covered quite a bit of information and we went over quite a lot with this new ANAFI USA. I mean, it's really exciting. I'm excited for it. I know I have a lot of departments that have already put in their pre-order for this unit. Speaking of, what time frame are we looking at for deliveries of ANAFI USAs?
Yes. So the big news is the application is available today. It's been released right before the call, right before this webinar. And in terms of ANAFI USA, we're shipping. And so it's available today, and we expect people to have their gears. For people that have already put it in order with Drone Nerd and so on, within the month of October. It's up and running. It's going. We have implemented. It's a big thing. We've implemented manufacturing in the US. We're working with a very secured partner, Neotech, and we cannot fly engineers right now in the US. So it has its complication, but we're progressing very, very much, and it's already being delivered. So it's just all of this is gonna come up in the next weeks, but it's live and going.
What about ITAR regulations?
The product is not ITAR itself, so it can be exported because this is very much linked to the thermal camera and the dual use classification. So no problem on that. Okay. Even if the partner we use is ITAR, and so that's a different topic, but the drone itself is not ITAR.
Okay. And finally, as we look into the future of drones and where Parrot's going, especially with the ANAFI line, some of the concerns that a lot of people have is, people that are still running, let's say the ANAFI 4Ks or even the standard ANAFI work or the thermals, there's going to be continued support, obviously, for those drones from Parrot.
Of course, and the prime example is FreeFlight 6.7. FreeFlight 6.7 has been, and this is why also, we were talking about the complexity of doing drone software. Right. But we developed the drone software and firmware and the app for ANAFI USA. But in fact, the day we release the FreeFlight 6.7, it has to be compatible with all the range. So it has to be compatible with ANAFI 4K. It has to be compatible with ANAFI thermal. And it is. And so people that will download today FreeFlight 6.7, they will update their firmware on the existing platform, the ANAFI 4K and ANAFI thermal, and some features, especially, for example, all the added features regarding the return to home are actually available also on these platforms. So people today will have more capabilities on their device that they had yesterday. And so to answer your question, yes, we continue supporting these products. The ANAFI line, the ANAFI family is 3 platforms, and they all work together. They actually share some architecture and so on, even if each one is different in terms of capabilities. They share a common architecture. And so yes, the answer to this is definitely yes.
And then something I just want to remind people of too is, there's going to be, ANAFI USA specific parts, propellers, batteries, all of that kind of thing as well, right? It's not going to be something that's, I have an ANAFI thermal, I'm going to use the propellers from the thermal to the USA or anything like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have them with me. Maybe I do. Okay, so I mean, in the pack, you already have a set of propellers provided. And these propellers, you will be able to buy them separately, change them. Same for the arms, the batteries, etc. So yes, the spares are available. Quickly talking about the propellers, so it's actually a different shape and model than the ones that we had before. And these ones are very easy to put in and put off because you're actually screwing them, just like you would screw anything, So it's very convenient to actually change them on the go compared to the other ones.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, FX, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for going over the ANAFI USA with us. Everybody who has any other questions, or if anybody has any questions that you want to get more in depth on, or you feel like wasn't touched on enough, or if you would have missed it by any chance, because the questions keep pouring in, you can reach out directly to us. You can reach out to FX if you'd like. You can reach out to myself. Sam, my email is very simple, sam@dronenerds.com. Give us a call, 786-708-7807. Anybody on our sales team or enterprise team can help you out with any of the questions that you might have. If we don't have the answer, if we don't know, FX is a phone call away. He's an email, text, WhatsApp, everything away from getting us the answer. And as always, he works directly with Parrot Direct, so it's easier for us to get in communication with him. FX, again, thank you so much. It's awesome to see this new product. I can't wait to see what it can do.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Very much appreciated, and looking forward to have these drone flyings all around.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone. We will be sending out the recording of this webinar, and we'll include contact information in case you do have any extra questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.